Good morning, everybody, or good day, everybody, and welcome to our winter webinar series. It's an exciting day to talk about benefits because every day is an exciting day to talk about benefits. So on behalf of all of us here at the Benefits Trust, we'd like to say good morning to you all and thank you very much for joining. And it looks like we've got quite a few people on the call today, or the webinar today, close to 50, so exciting times. Welcome to the Benefits Trust. We are a full-service third-party administration company. We were established on January 1st, 1994, so we've been around well over 20 years. We provide budgeted ASO services for end-user clients and pretty much in the GTA and Southern and Central Ontario. We don't go to Calgary to have meetings, but we often have companies and clients that have divisions in other provinces. We work with brokers like you. We do not sell direct. So we want to take this time to say thank you very much for joining us today. And on behalf of all of us at the Benefits Trust, thank you for your time. My name is Robert Crowder. I'm the president and one of the founders of the Benefits Trust. I'm the guy on the left. So a little face behind the voice, if you would. And our moderator today will be answering some of your questions if you type them in or keyboard them in or whatever the terminology is Michael Ignatz. And Mike is going to be chiming in from time to time when I mess something up. So Mike, say hello.
Good morning, everybody.
So there's some voices or faces behind the voices. So again, as you can see, our Benefits Trust uniforms are dark suits and blue shirts. Anyways, the best part about webinars is we're going to spend an hour of time together, or just under an hour of time together, and you get to miss all the traffic, whether you're coming in from different parts of Toronto to our office. You don't have to sit in traffic and do that. And one of the things that's interesting about traffic in Toronto, I was listening to a news story some time ago, within the last year anyway, and they were talking about traffic in the GTA and how significant it is. And it's actually second to Los Angeles, which is amazing. So we got a lot of traffic here, but regardless, webinars miss the traffic, but we thank you very much for the time that you're spending with us. We want to share some ideas, some thoughts, and some sales stories with you. And, whenever I attend any of these types of seminars or webinars or workshops, if you get an idea out of it, you can put on a sticky note and you can change your behavior at some point in the future and it helps you. I think it's been time well spent. And that's really our goal today is to give you some ideas, some thoughts, and share some sales stories with you to give you an idea to help you in a situation in the future that will move the ball forward, so to speak. We want to talk today, and why you've signed up is to get CE credits. But in addition to that, we wanted to talk today about simplifying group benefits with budgeted ASO. I think the key word is simplifying. And when we're talking about simplifying group benefits with budgeted ASO, we're talking about simplifying it in the client's eyes. And it's interesting, I've been working in this industry for 28 years, primarily dealing with smaller size clients in that marketplace. And they have a very few minutes to spend on benefits on an annual basis because they're busy running their polishing widget business. And they often don't understand it. And I think it's really important and it's really easy to simplify group benefits with budgeted ASO. So that's what we want to talk about today. Our goals and objectives for the next, as I like to say, hour, or the next 1.0 CE credits that you're going to receive for attending today. We want to take a look at a couple of things. Number one, ASO. We want to give you a very quick review on ASO. And again, this is in the premise of simplifying group benefits. So an end user can understand this. So simplifying ASO, a quick review. We want to talk about pooled benefits and where pooled benefits fit in with an ASO product. We want to talk about some creative plan designs and how we can approach creative plan designs. We want to show you a couple of case studies, the best way to illustrate some creative plan designs and some applications of plan designs through some case studies. We want to review three different approaches with case studies. As well as that, we want to talk about service, and service is important, an important aspect of any benefit program, and we'll want to share that with you as well. So that's what we're going to do for the next just under an hour. We're going to be wrapping things up just before 11. Let's talk about a market context. When we're looking in the GTA, when we're looking between, if you would, Niagara Falls through Kitchener, Waterloo, Guelph, and up to Barrie and around down through Oshawa and Whitby and so on. You're looking at that whole southern central Ontario area, and there are thousands upon thousands upon thousands of businesses. And to put things into perspective, we're not interested in talking about, how the Royal Bank or the Bank of Montreal approaches benefits or McDonald's restaurants approaches benefits. We want to talk more really about how successful businesses with 3 to 103 employees approach benefits. So it's that lower end of the marketplace. We're not talking about the micro end, the 1 and 2s. We talked about that in a webinar series that we did on Tuesday, actually. But we really will want to talk about our approach to budgeted ASO for that sort of 3 to 103 employee marketplace. What is an employee benefit plan? You know, it's interesting. I've asked this question many, many times in interviews over the last dozen years or so. And when you ask an end user what an employee benefit program is, they often look at you like you've got two heads. And they say, well, you know, it's that health and dental stuff and life insurance. That's what an employee benefit plan is. And again, in the whole process of simplifying employee benefits and providing value to your end user clients, we say employee benefits is a promise between an employer and an employee. And it's interesting, when you use the word promise, it's a promise between an employer and an employee. Often when you're dealing with the smaller size of the marketplace, you're dealing with the employer, you're dealing with the decision maker, you're dealing with that entrepreneur that you're working with, and it's his or her company. So all of a sudden, when you say it's a promise between an employer and an employee, the entrepreneur is wearing his employer hat and goes, or she goes, terrific, I understand that. It opens up that Pandora's box of saying, hey, if that's what an employee benefit plan is, and it is because it makes sense, I can promise anything I want. So we use language like this. An employee benefit plan is a promise between an employer and a group of employees. And that promise can consist of many different things. Another favorite question that we ask often is, tell me about the groups within your group. And the employer looks at you like you've got two heads, and then you sort of explain it a little bit more, but there are different groups within a group. So you've got a business that's open for business. They're polishing their widgets. They're doing a great job. They're successful. Their future is going to be bigger than their past. They're open for business. And then this is what the employer looks like. This is very common. You've got this CEO at the top. She's young, dynamic. She's very well educated. She often works remotely, and she's got a unique product in the marketplace. Then you've got the 5 sales team. And, you know, they're the group of happy, smiley people to the right. They're single, they're dynamic. They hang out at different bars than I do, that's for sure. And they've got this aura about them, and they're excited about their future. Then you've got the people that are actually doing the work. And they're very different from those smiley, happy, young, single, dynamic salespeople. And you got the people that are doing the work, you know, down below in the bucket trucks. And then you've got this R&D department. And as we all know, often R&D departments are a little bit unusual and they're unique. They're kind of like actuaries, right, if you would. And they have their very different, you know, views on benefits than the sales department does, than the CEO does, than the workers do, and different benefit needs. Then you got the marketing department up there, and they might be seasonal. They might be university students. They might be an outside agency. They may be contractors, whatever. But you've got a company that's existing today. It's very profitable. Their future is going to be bigger than their past. And they've got these different groups within the group. So a benefit plan is a promise between an employer and an employee, but it's also a promise between an employer and a group of employees. And the benefit plan can be very different for each of those distinct groups within the group. The promise, regardless of what it is, a benefit plan promise often, not always, but often consists of 3 components: insurance, reimbursement, and administration. And if you think about it, insurance is there to protect against catastrophic, sudden, unexpected events. But the insurance within an employee benefit program is really there to protect against the integrity of the promise. So if somebody is making a promise to an employee that says, hey, we're going to give you $100,000 of group life insurance to your named beneficiary if you die, you want to have insurance in place to protect the integrity of that promise should something like that happen. If somebody does die, the employer has made a promise, they would have to make good on that promise and pay them out $100,000. That could eliminate the benefit plan in the future because they wouldn't have any money to pay for it. So that's why you need to buy insurance, to protect the integrity of the promise against catastrophic, sudden, unexpected events. The second component of a benefit plan promise often consists of some element of reimbursement of routine expenses. Reimbursement of routine expenses for a promise that's made to somebody from a drug perspective, a prescription drug perspective, not a drug perspective, a prescription drug perspective, Mike. That's why you're laughing at me, or a dental perspective, or hey, we're going to pay for 50% of or 80% of your vision care benefits up to $333 every 18 months. Whatever the promise is, there's a reimbursement section. And then the third idea, or the third component, if you would, is one of administration. Administration is keeping the promise on side from a Revenue Canada standpoint, keeping it on side from a confidentiality standpoint. It's keeping the promise alive. It's documenting the promise. It's communicating the promise, etc. So a benefit plan promise often consists of those three components. And again, in the simplifying group benefits regime, if you would, talking to an end user client about this, they see those three components and they see them very distinctly and they see them very quickly, and it makes sense to them. So when we're talking about ASO funding versus traditional funding, this is a slide I often use, again, when I'm out with brokers and looking at or sitting across the table from end user clients, and they're saying, hey, what is ASO, or what's, what have I got and what are you talking about? Traditional funding versus ASO, and keeping things quite simple. And if we look at a traditional funded benefit plan, there's the client promise, what we talked about. There's the benefit plan. There's insurance for the risk charges, and things like life insurance, accidental death and dismemberment, out-of-country emergency travel coverage, stop loss, critical illness, long-term disability, etc. You want to buy insurance for that, and there's risk charges, premiums being charged for that. Then there's the reimbursement section, which the insurance company says, hey, we are going to anticipate what your claims are going to be, and the insurance company is going to look at what your claims have been historically. They're going to look at the reserves that they're required. They're going to look at your industry classification. They're going to look at how their pool is doing, et cetera. But they're going to anticipate what claims you are going to have in the next 12 months. And as you would expect, and insurance companies are very conservative by nature, and they anticipate very conservatively as opposed to aggressively. Then they look at plan operation expenses, and that's really the admin component of a benefit plan promise. And the plan operation expenses include your commissions and include how they have to run the plan and put their electronic interfaces online and so on. So when you look at a benefit plan cost in a traditional matter, the client promise is set, and there are risk charges plus their anticipated claims, their transactions or reimbursement, plus the appropriate admin, and that equals the client's premiums. And we look at an ASO traditionally funded benefit plan, if you would, and it's the exact same client promise, the exact same risk charges are in place, but instead of anticipated claims, the only difference is actual claims. The client is responsible for their actual reimbursement claims. And then you've got plan operation expenses, which may be the same, they may be more, they may be less, depending on the circumstances, and that equals client costs. So the only difference really between traditional funding and ASO funding is that gap between anticipated claims and actual claims. And again, in simplifying benefits for an end user client, this slide gets a lot of head nodding up and down. They get it, they understand it. Actual claims versus anticipated claims is really one of the only differences between traditional funding and ASO funding. Let's be perfectly clear. The house wins 80% of the time. The house wins 80% of the time, and the slide is just coming up right now. There we go. The house wins 80% of the time. I was in Vegas with a bunch of friends of mine for celebrating a friend's 50th birthday in September of last year. And, it's a pile of fun. As we all know, Vegas can be a pile of fun, and you can have a great time, and the casinos are grand, and they're outrageous and over the top. And they're that way because they win. They win a lot of the time. And in the insurance business, when we're looking at traditional insurance, the house wins 80% of the time, and especially in the small marketplace. That's why I'm saying if a client has a short-term benefit plan outlook, you can always find a cheaper solution. Fully insured funding works. You can always find a cheaper solution. You can move the plan, one company to the right every 2 years, and the employer is always going to win. You can always find a cheaper solution. I remember when I first started, when I was much younger, talking to the insurance companies, they would say, hey, if you shop the plan every year or every 2 years, you're not going to get any markets that are going to bite on it. And you know what? That's not true. Somebody will always bite. They're hungry to trade business, And if the client has a short-term benefit plan outlook, you can always find a solution. That affects your profits as an advisor because you get paid commissions on these things. You got to do a lot of work to transfer a plan. Client's got to do a lot of work. There's a human resource cost to it. So is it really? But let's be perfectly clear. Short-term benefit plan funding outlook, you can always find a fully insured plan that's cheaper than what you've got right now. If a client has a long-term benefit plan outlook, without a doubt, ASO funding, in my opinion, is the most cost-efficient way of going. So it's interesting, again, sitting down with end user clients, with brokers, and you're talking to a client about this, and you're saying, hey, great, what's your outlook on benefits? Is it short-term or long-term? And they look at you, and you start a conversation in that tone. Short-term or long-term? And they're saying, hey, great, we want to look at this from a long-term perspective. Terrific, we've got a solution for you, right? So benefit plans are really, if they got a short-term, you want to look at traditional funding, and if they got a long-term outlook, you want to look at ASO funding. We at the Benefits Trust help successful business owners build a better benefit plan that they can get anywhere else. You are our distribution department as independent insurance brokers. You are our distribution department. But what we do is we help successful business owners build better benefits than they can get anywhere else. Let's break that down. First of all, we help. Everybody loves to be helped. Successful, as I like to say, there are two types of clients in the world. There are successful business owners, and there are other people's prospects. So we help successful business owners build means custom, a better benefit plan. Better is intriguing, than they can get anywhere else, and that's exclusive. So what we do is we help successful business owners build a better benefit plan than they can get anywhere else. Our ASO funding process is very simple. Our approach to ASO is very simple and very straightforward. A client benefits promise is captured. We set a monthly contribution budget for them. We set using phantom rates for the health and dental benefits. We set the premiums, or the insurance partner set the premiums for the insurance component of it. We send the client a billing statement, and they provide us a monthly contribution. So arrow A, if you would, on the screen, the client sends us money on a monthly basis, and it's sent to the Benefits Trust, and it's held in trust. The first thing we do with it is we take that money out in arrow B, and we buy insurance where they need to buy insurance depending on the promise that they're making. For life, AD&D, EAP programs, long-term disability, etc. Second thing we do is we pay claim transactions for health, dental, and short-term disability, healthcare spending accounts, etc. And we also provide plan operation costs, which includes all of the administration. Or we also take out money for plan operation costs, which also includes administration, producer compensation, the appropriate taxes, and so on. Then we send a monthly financial statement to all clients and to all producers that say, hey, you sent us this much money, we paid out that much money, and here's what your account balance is.
We have a question from one of the viewers about appropriate size for budgeted ASO groups.
The appropriate size for our budgeted ASO groups, we're talking, as I mentioned off the top, we are talking about companies from 3 to 103 employees in this particular situation. And the appropriate size is really not necessarily the size of the company per se. It's more the spirit of the company. If they're a successful entrepreneurial organization and they've got a long-term benefit outlook, then it's appropriate for budgeted ASO services. It's as simple as that. When we're looking at our financial statements, this is a sample financial statement that we send out to every single client and every single producer on a monthly basis. And it's quite simple. It shows the contributions in, and it shows them on a current month basis. Here it comes. Ooh, geez, the system's really slow today, but it shows them on a current month basis. So as you can see, and here's a sample statement from 2013. They haven't changed in format. Current month, the client sent us $7,201.21. Year to date, they've sent $85,734, and previous year to date, they sent $74,000. So first column is current month, second column is year to date, and then third column is previous year to date. So they sent us $7,000. We paid out $1,400 as it comes up right now. We paid out $1,400 on insurance, or for insurance premiums for life insurance, long-term disability, stop loss, etc. We might be dealing with multiple insurance suppliers in this case, but we send out those dollars on a monthly basis to cover the risk. And then we pay out, in this example, we paid out as it comes up right now, $4,100 in claims. Here it comes. There we go. $4,100 in health and dental and so on claims. and we paid $970 in plan operation expenses. And in this particular example, the client has a surplus in their account of $719, or year to date of $2,306.48. Previous year to date at this point in time, they had a $7,400 deficit. Purpose of this document is to show the client what their surplus or deficit balance is. In this particular example, if this was the end of the year, they would have a $2,300 surplus. That money is theirs. At the end of the previous year, they had a $7,400 deficit, and that money is their responsibility. So clients own surplus and they own deficits. With ASO, with our ASO approach to benefits, the client using that $2,300 surplus can do a number of things with it. They can let it ride for future claim fluctuations. They can have a check back. They can increase benefits. Same with the deficit. Like in the previous year, they can either write a check to support that deficit. They can increase their contributions over the next 12 months to have a deficit recovery component built in. They can change their benefit promise, etc. But they are responsible for that money. So the approach is very simple. Budgeted ASO services is very straightforward and very simple. Clients understand it when you point it out in this fashion. So then it becomes time of what does the client want the promise to be? The client can make any promise they want, and they can make any promise to different groups within the group. So what does the client want the promise to be? Well, they can choose any type of pooled benefits and services that they want to be included as part of their promise. Depending on the size of the group will depend on the amount of insurance that they can get. So for example, a 3-life group, a small group, we can only get $25,000 of group life insurance without any evidence of insurability. Whereas a 103-life group, we can get $250,000 of group life insurance without any evidence of insurability. So the client gets to choose what pooled benefits and services that they want to put in place, and we deal with multiple insurance suppliers and multiple specialty insurance suppliers. So the client gets to really plug and play, if you would, according to the promise that they're making to their client or to their employees, and it can be different promises to different groups within the group. We've got a wide variety of insurance companies that we can deal with on an ongoing basis. And again, it really is dependent upon the promise that is being made. So there's the insurance component. It's quite simple. The insurance paid. Again, we might be dealing with multiple insurance suppliers. And boy, this is slow today. I can't get over it. You might be dealing with multiple insurance suppliers, but as you can see on the financial statement, hey, a certain amount is going to be sent for life to one carrier, or a different carrier for LTD, a different carrier for stop loss, etc. Then if we look at the reimbursement benefits, we look at, as I like to call it, the reimbursement line, if you would. The reimbursement benefits can be set up to any type of benefit plan that a client wants, and again, different benefits for different groups within the group. So for an existing traditional defined benefit plan, if you would, on the left-hand side of the spectrum, that's really where the insurance or the insurer has control over that. On a budgeted ASO plan, the client's got complete control. But you can set up any type of benefit that you want, from a traditional plan design to a healthcare spending account or a defined contribution plan design or anything in between. And we encourage you to go to our website at thebenefitstrust.com, because we've got a new video on there on hybrid plan design that I think you might enjoy watching, to give you an idea on what a hybrid plan design is. But a hybrid plan design, again, is really just a combination of traditional features and healthcare spending accounts. And depending on how many traditional features you have or how few traditional features you have will depend on where you go on the line. But really, the client decides what they want the promise to be. The client decides what they want that promise to be on an ongoing basis, and it can differ from group to group. So I think the best way to talk about some of these things is look at a few case studies. Let's look at some case studies right now that overview some of the creative applications and how we've used these plan designs and why we've used these plan designs to solve clients' problems. If we look at the first opportunity here, this is a very well-known company in the GTA. I'm sure many of you would recognize it, the name of this company. They've been established in the Greater Toronto area for many, many years. They've got 22 full-time employees. They've got 50 plus part-time employees, and they're in the consumer service business. Right? They're a quasi-retail outlet, but not really. But they're in the consumer service business, and they deal with customers and have for generations. In this particular company right now, there are 4 executives. 4 executives in this organization. There are 6 employees with more than 10 years of service, full-time employees with more than 10 years of service, so some long-serving employees. There are 12 employees with less than 10 years of service. And of the 50 plus part-time employees, there are 5 that have got 10 that have more than 5 years of service. So a pretty dynamic company, very well known, very well respected company. And again, this is their makeup. So the client wants, in this particular situation, they've always had a sort of a traditional benefit plan, and it wasn't really working for it. They weren't feeling the love, so to speak. And the broker and I went into this particular company and rattled their chains. And after a whole bunch of questions and discussions, they wanted a traditional plan design, but they wanted a little bit more flexibility in their offering. They wanted to be competitive in the marketplace, but the key thing that they really wanted to, and where they wanted to spend their money, is they wanted to reward long service employees and retain their important part-time employees. And when I say important part-time employees, the employees that have been there more than 5 years. Some of these part-time employees have been there many, many years, and they're lifers. They just want to be part-time. Their lifestyle is such that they can afford to work part-time. They enjoy it. They're doing it for the joy of the work as opposed to the compensation. But the client really wants to reward those employees. So this was what was causing the client frustration, is they had this traditional plan design. There wasn't a lot of flexibility in it. They were competitive in the marketplace, but there was gaps at the executive level, and they couldn't include their part-time employees very effectively. So the plan design that we came up with was unique for them. It's a customized plan design approach. We set up a 100% executive plan, and that was 100% for the executives. No co-insurances, no maximums, no deductibles, etc. We put the appropriate insurance in place to protect against catastrophic, sudden, unexpected events. But anytime a client's got a claim, it goes into the benefit plan, and as long as it is an eligible CRA expense, it's covered at 100%. Full-time employees, and in this particular case, all full-time employees got a traditional plan with 75% reimbursement. So it was the exact same plan design that they had, but we just took the reimbursement level from 80% to 75% reimbursement. Then they put in a plan, or they put in a layer, if you would, for full-time employees with more than 10 years of service. We added a $2,000 healthcare spending account for each of those employees on top of the traditional plan. So the traditional plan, the reimbursement level was brought down by 5%, but the full-time employees with more than 10 years of service got a fairly significant bump. The employees with less than 10 years of service were anticipating sticking around to get that $2,000 healthcare spending account. In addition to that, well, all the part-time employees with more than 5 years of service got a $500 standalone healthcare spending account. So that's the plan design that was put in place for this client. And it was great because the client said yes on the spot. And it was great because the client said yes on the spot. They had, this was a custom design plan set up directly for them. The executives, or the executive that was in on the decision-making process, completely understood the tax effectiveness component of it for them. And it met all of their requirements. It had that traditional element to it, as well as some flexibility, and rewarded the part-time employees according to one of their desires. So it really was a great approach. And the interesting thing about this is the client made this decision very quickly. In other words, the broker got to yes very quickly. Excuse me. The broker got to yes very quickly. It's a profitable case for the broker because it's handled very well. They're very confident in the plan design, and it works for them. But more importantly than that, the price is not necessarily off the table, but the price of the cost of the benefit plan is really down the line because they've got the plan design that they need. So the cost is not as important as it once was. So that's case study number 1. Case study number 2. This particular organization has 70 employees. They're in the sales industry. It's really an empowerment philosophy in this organization. It's a dynamic, cool environment, as I like to say. And I've got cool in quotes there. It's not cold. It's it's just a cool environment. You know, they got the foosball table in the lunchroom, and you know, they've got music playing constantly and so on. It's this really dynamic and really neat environment. And we've been dealing with this organization for some time now, and it's just a great company. 75% of the employees are paid a base salary and commission, so it's very much it's very much one of those organizations where you can earn as much as you want. Depends on how hard you want to work and how good you are at your job. But as a result of this, earnings vary widely within the group. There's a very, very small executive group in a very flat-line company. Everybody's very similar. Everybody's, you know, I don't want to say an equal, but everybody, you know, has a voice in the company. It's a very much an empowerment philosophy, and you know, go out and get it. So it's a great and unique company. A plan design, after a bunch of questions and looking at their organization, the plan design that we came up with that they just absolutely love is we put $75,000 of critical illness insurance in place and $250,000 of AD&D. It was interesting that they chose $75,000 of critical illness because they look at themselves, even though they're 70 employees, which is quite a few, they look at themselves as very much a family, and they said, hey, great, if somebody gets sick, we want to take care of them. We want to take care of them. If somebody gets, you know, cancer, stroke, heart attack, it affects all of us, and we want to take care of them. We want to give them $75,000 because that's what we could get for them without any evidence of insurability. They also said, hey, great, this accidental death and dismember stuff is really cheap, really inexpensive. I shouldn't say cheap, really inexpensive, and it's easy to buy. Let's get $250,000 of accidental death and dismemberment, because their philosophy was if somebody does die as a result of an accident, it's going to be extraordinarily tragic. And we want to make sure that their family has got a bump that they can be taken care of. So they put $250,000 of accidental death and dismemberment. There's a lot of people that are very wealthy in this organization. They get paid a ton, and they travel a lot. Emergency out-of-country medical coverage was very important to them, so we put that in place. And they also have a 90% drug plan, so we put stop loss in place, set at a $10,000 attachment level. And so any claims over $10,000 would be covered under the stop loss contract, and any claims below that would be covered under the drug plan. So 90% drug plan. And as well, in addition to that, they didn't have any we didn't put in any dental or ancillary benefits in the health plan. All it was is a 90% drug plan, and then a healthcare spending account equal to 2.5% of the previous year's total earnings. So if somebody made $100,000 in the previous years between their base salary and their commissions, they got $2,500 in a healthcare spending account. If someone made $5,000 or $200,000, they got $5,000, etc. So it was really interesting when we proposed this to them. They were quite excited about it because the custom plan fits with their compensation philosophy. They want to take care of them against certain catastrophic events. All employees, including the executives, and this was very important to them, all employees, including the executives, have the same benefits. Now, the executives, their healthcare spending accounts are enormous based on their earnings, but everybody's got the same benefits. The pooled benefits, again, match that compensation philosophy. We want to take care of you if you die as a result of an accident or you get one of these dread diseases. We want to take care of you. It meets their compensation philosophy. Their philosophy on life insurance, and this is what we got excited about when we first went in, is, you know, I asked the question under their existing plan, why do they have $10,000 of the life insurance or $25,000, like a very small amount? And they go, we don't want it. We think life insurance is an item that should be decided with your family. It's part of your own financial planning. And I said, great, we don't have to have it. So the pool benefits that we put in place, the $75,000 of critical illness and the $250,000 in this example of AD&D, met with their compensation philosophy. In addition to that, the 1-year waiting period for the healthcare spending account component encourages employee commitment. And that worked with their compensation philosophy as well, because a lot of people see the buzz in joining this company. They get excited about it. And when your compensation is base plus commissions, and people haven't worked in that environment in the past, they often come in spend a little bit of time there and don't have the stomach for it as being a salesperson, being 100% or very a large percentage of a commission as part of your salary. So there's a fair amount of turnover at the low end. And they historically have been paying a lot for benefits for people coming in, using the benefit plan and not sticking around and leaving. So, hey, great, you got 75,000 of critical illness, great, you got 250,000 of AD&D, you got out of country and stop loss and a bit of a drug plan. But really the majority of the cost is in the healthcare spending account, and you got to wait 1 year to join that. So this custom plan design fits with their philosophy, fits with their environment, fits with everybody's treated the same, but everybody's treated differently kind of idea. So it really works in this particular organization. Again, traditional approach versus custom approach. This is another company that we've been dealing with for many years as well. They've got 60 employees in their organization. They're in the processing, logistics, and sales business, so a whole bunch of different skill sets within this organization. 2 generations active in the business. The founder is 75 plus years old, and he's still very active every day. Matter of fact, he's one of the first people, if not the first person in the office every single day. You can't stop Dad. That's what his daughter says. Anyways, it's in this particular organization, when we went in to see them, again, a very diverse employee skill set. You've got people that are truck drivers. You got people that are processing big things and little things. You've got sales people, you've got accounting people, you've got account executives, you've got customer service reps, etc. So a wide range of skill set. You've got a diverse employee skill set as well. You've got a wide range of salaries. You've got many long service employees. The company has historically been very, very good to the employees and a real family atmosphere. So many long service employees. Real pride of working there kind of feeling. As well as that, you've got an overage executive, and that's critical that overage executive is taken care of. In this particular situation, we came up with a plan design, and they said they wanted 100% executive plan for the family members, and a couple of key people that have been with them many years that are in executive and management positions. So we set up that 100% defined benefit. You pay one price, or you pay for it, and whatever you claim, it's covered. It's covered at 100%. No coinsurances, no maximums, no deductibles. Tax deductible expense to the business. Benefits are received tax-free. Then what they said is, because we've got this diverse group, and many of them have 2 family incomes, and many of them want to be part of the benefit plan, but some of them don't, anyways, they said, let's set up a very, very traditional plan design. Let's set up a very, very traditional plan design, and let's call it the bronze plan, and let's just set it at a 60% reimbursement level, and it's funded 100% by the employer. So they have again a very, very traditional plan design, a certain amount of life insurance and AD&D and long-term disability, and they've got some out-of-country coverage, and they've got a traditional health and dental plan, and it's fully funded by the employer. Then they wanted to provide some flexibility for people to make decisions, because everybody's family situation is a little bit different. So we set up a silver plan, and it basically has a little bit more reimbursement of 80%, and then a gold plan of 100%, but still certain limits and caps. And top-ups are available to all employees at their cost. So once a year, we set the price for each of those divisions, as well as that we set a bunch of rules on how and when employees can jump from one class to another. So when we look at this benefit plan, hey, we got the executive group at 100%. We've got the traditional plan design, so everybody gets the 60% plan. And then the employee has the choice to either top up to an 80% plan or a 100% plan, and they get to do that once a year. And they pay for that cost on an annual or a monthly basis, or a bi-weekly basis, actually. So it worked out very well for the company, and it gives them that comfort. It's tax effective for the family and retention for very, very key employees in their organization. As well as that, we implemented a specialty out-of-country coverage for the active owner, and that's priced separately in the group. But it's a specialty out-of-country coverage for this guy because he does travel from time to time, and we want to make sure, because he's 75 plus years old, we want to make sure that he's got the best coverage. Again, it's not about price. We want to make sure that he's got the best coverage in place, so when he does travel, he is covered for his out-of-country emergency medical expenses. As well as that, the employees must make purchasing decisions on an annual basis based on their benefit needs, and the employer's benefits budget is maintained because it's just really that 60% level. And so this company works, this benefit plan design has worked well and very well for these folks over the past number of years. Again, customized versus a traditional approach, and the retention on this has been magnificent. And as I like to say, and Mike, laughs when I say this, the broker that we work with on this particular case, it's a thin file versus a thick file, right? In other words, there's not a lot going on this case because it runs and runs well. And, when a competition calls up, a broker competition calls up and says they want to quote on their benefits, it's like Teflon. It just bounces right off the guys. They're not interested because they've got this customized approach. Service and administration. Service and administration, if you look at it, I promise what our job here at the Benefits Trust is, in combination with you, is we keep promises that employers make to employees. It's as simple as that. We keep promises that employers make to employees. We help successful business owners build a better benefit plan than they can get anywhere else, and then we keep that promise on an ongoing basis. Benefits are an emotional thing. They're emotional because they affect the individual plan member. And an individual plan member when they need them the most. Generally speaking, when they're not well, when they're sick, when they're disabled, when they're going through issues. And it's interesting. Benefits are an emotional thing. So the service, as a result of that, needs to be timely, personable, and efficient. It needs to happen right away. It needs to be personal. Because it's an emotional thing. It can't be, when you're dealing with someone that's emotional, you've got to be dealing with them on a personal basis. And it's got to be very, very efficient as well. So what makes us different? What makes us different than Great West Life, Manulife, Sun Life, any of the insurance companies, any of the other TPAs out there? What makes us different? Well, the Benefits Trust, we do a number of things. We provide personal service as opposed to impersonal service. People get to know us. Members get to know our people. Employers know our people. It's great. We've got that personal touch. We answer the telephone. As I like to say, we answer the phone. Yes, we're going to ask a member some security issues or security questions, and then we're going to be able to answer answer their questions. You don't have to enter your 17-digit PIN number for a health care question and your other 17-digit PIN number for a dental care question, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We answer the phone, we ask some security questions, and away we go. We provide a full service administration package included in our organization. We don't farm anything out other than the drug card purchasing, but that's really done in our office. We provide you, the producer, as well as the end user client, a monthly financial statement that shows exactly where they are so there aren't any surprises. We take a conservative budgeting approach as opposed to an aggressive budgeting approach, but we take a conservative budgeting approach so there's no surprises at the end of the year. And as I like to say, we have industry benchmark setting service levels, and we have had since the day we started this business. Quick turnaround for all of our claims. That's really what we get marked on the most, or what's the word? Not marked on, but that's really the feedback that we get the most is our quick turnaround time. We've got a Benefits Trust claim paying app. Many companies do. We were one of the first. Ours is very simple to use. You take a picture of a claim. If you've got a chiropractic claim or a dental claim or whatever it is, you take a photograph of it, you press submit, and you get an email back with the money in your account. Online claim submission, pay direct drugs, EDI, dental, email and fax submissions, direct deposit payments, etc. So it's very, very straightforward. You can claim. We interact with our clients and our members in many different ways, whatever they're most comfortable with. For example, you can still send in a claim by mail, or you can use, from the other end of the spectrum, our app. Our app we've had for a number of years. We're just doing what is it?
It's an update.
An update. We're adding some new features to it and so on. So we're going through that process right now, which we're excited about. The app is going to be always very simple to use. You take a photograph of your claim, you press submit, and you're done. It's as simple as that. As a result of this, the service levels that we provide to our clients, you have a happier client, and we have a happy client. We did a survey probably about 1.5 years, 2 years ago of all of our clients, and it was done by a third party, so it was somewhat anonymous. And we had a terrific response from our clients. First of all, the number of clients that responded was higher than this company has ever seen. But in addition to that, the responses that we got were extraordinary. We hadn't, I can't remember exactly because it's been a while since I looked at it, but I know it was more than 95% of our clients look at us as a valued partner in their organization. So it's a simple process. It's a very simple process. When we're looking at budgeted ASO, you've got a custom design benefit plan, right? You've got a custom design benefit plan and approach. It's unique. We help successful business owners build a better benefit plan than they can get anywhere else. We put appropriate insurance to protect the integrity of the promise so the promise can continue into perpetuity. It's important to understand that, right? The last one, or the second, or the third approach that we take is responsible budgeting. Very much a responsible budgeting approach as opposed to historically some ASO providers have said, yeah, we can save you 40%. That's wrong. It's not going to happen. We can't predict the future. If I could predict the future, I would pick the right 7 numbers for the 649 draw on the weekend. All right. So we take a responsible budgeting approach, and then we've got superior administration and service solution that's all encompassing, all within our office, that helps deal with more than 1,000 clients, and we've been doing this for more than 20 years. So we help successful business owners build a better benefit plan than they can get anywhere else. We work directly with brokers that, like you, and we keep promises that matter to employees. That's really what our business approach is, and it's all budgeted ASO from a simplified approach. So we've been discussing this for 46 minutes right now. We've talked about ASO, a very quick review. We talked about pool benefits, really the plug and play type of approach. Creative plan designs. The creative plan design is anywhere on that defined benefit, defined contribution spectrum and everything in between. But the creative plan design can be designed according to different groups within the group, depending on the client and the client's requirements. We talked about 3 different case studies and 3 different approaches to benefits. And we talked about our top-notch service and administration solutions. So it's been a good 46 minutes. So when you're looking into the future, you want to be dealing, I think, with organizations that have a future that's going to be bigger than their past. Growing companies, excitable companies. As I like to say, we are our own perfect prospect here at the Benefits Trust. The owners, myself and Francis, are very active in the company. We're active in the future of the company. It's continuing to grow. We care about our people. Those are types of clients that you've always wanted to have as clients. We're our own perfect prospect. You want to deal with companies where the future is going to be bigger than the past. Reach out to us. If you have in the past, thank you very much. If you have not done so in a while or you've never done so, please reach out to us. We'd love to say hello. We're constantly doing things like these webinars. We're going to be doing a new webinar series titled Common Problems with Benefit Plans and How We Solve Them. And we're going to be doing the 3 different sessions on those, so look out for those. Check out the benefitstrust.com. Lots of tools on the benefitstrust.com. Go to the advisor resource section, the video section. Use anything that you like in those sections. It's entirely up to you. We've got an ebook on healthcare spending accounts that a lot of people use. Reach out to us and check out our website. There's lots going on there. benefitstrust.com. Check it out. So on behalf of all of us here at the Benefits Trust and Mike, who was doing a great job moderating, he was feverishly typing away, answering people's questions. On behalf of Mike and myself and all of us here at the Benefits Trust, we want to say thank you very much for your time. Shortly, you will be receiving a CE certificate. Say hello, reach out to us, and many of you already receive our Trusted Advisor newsletter, but for signing up for this webinar, you will also receive our Trusted Advisor newsletter. It comes out once a month with valuable information. We'd love to chat with you, and we wish you success in the future. Have a great day and good selling. Bye for now.
Have a great day, everybody.